Everyone, we are continuing on with our Modernizing the MyListing demo series, working through the card demo. And as we did in the previous video, we are going to catch up on the things that I've been working on that I said I'd work on since the last video. So I'm going to show you everything that I've done just so you guys know, and I'm not doing things and you're wondering what I'm doing in the background. And then we are going to do one thing live together. I have one little super quick, super small task, and then we're just going to wing it as we've been doing. I'm going to figure out the next thing to work on right in this video. Think of it right on the fly. Okay, so let's do some catch up again. Site settings. Let me dive over there. Open up a page, and we will dive over there, and I will show you what's changed. Let me also bring up WP Codebox. So what I did was I brought over the colors from WP Codebox. So we have defined in our CSS and our color scheme, which is available. This right here that's highlighted on my screen is available for free. It's just a quick way to set your color scheme variables. And if you've seen in my videos before on why this is so important and powerful, you can just literally with the click of a button change the color and it goes all throughout your site and makes the change. It's awesome. So what I did is I just made sure that these colors matched up with Elementor as well. So if we go to site settings, global colors, you'll see that everything matches up here. All the colors that are in WP Codebox's color scheme are here for us to choose from, which is basically black and all the different shades of black, and then white. The different shades of black, as you see on my screen, kind of amounts to also covers your whites and your grays. So it's kind of takes care of two things for our colors. Okay, so I did that. I changed the layout to my preferred layout, which is how I build all my sites and all my starter sites with. Is this 1200? The content width by default is 1200. MyListing uses, with their demos, they use 1140, which is the default Elementor uses, but that's old school because of the size of monitors these days. The content should be 1200 is a little bit bigger is better. So instead of 1140, we want 1200. The other thing I did is I went to Lightbox and disabled the image Lightbox. And the reason for that, and I was actually surprised that the MyListing demos don't do this. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe the MyListing demos don't even touch the site settings. So I guess that makes sense. But this creates a double Lightbox issue in MyListing. So we turn that off. Okay. What else did I do? Listing types. Minor change in here. Again, let's go to for rent and for sale. They had a field in here called, let's go to price, I think it is. No. What was it here? Oh, years. That's my fault. My bad. Year. So they had this manufacturing year field in here, and they put a minimum value and a maximum value, which I do not understand. So when I went to add a listing or update a listing, this one right here, for example, the year I couldn't get the year to update, and it just said invalid, invalid, invalid. And I go back here and I found out that they put years on here, so you can only list certain car years in there, which I think is really strange. Because what if you want to, like, why I don't understand, like it'd be harder to manage because as the years go by, newer cars get newer years, obviously, and you couldn't even add that. So long story short, I took that out of both of these listing types, just as we continue to modernize and make all of this stuff better. Legal and sitemap menu. So let's go to appearance and menus. And I created a new menu called legal and sitemap. And then I also created corresponding pages, privacy policy, terms and conditions, and a sitemap. Added those to the menu, which we will see here in a bit. I added them to the footer, which we're going to look at. And then mobile view trick. So that we will look at. Let's go ahead and look at that now. So that's part of the footer. So let's edit. Let's get out of that. Let's close a couple of these screens. And let's pull up our templates. So this is, as I said in the last video, I got started with the footer, and then I've since yesterday I've been working on this footer, and it is now available on the club website to download. Okay, so what I want to show you here is, so I added, this is that menu right here, I call it the legal and sitemap menu. So that's what's added here. But I wanted to show you the trick on mobile. So if I go and switch over to mobile view, again, we're using that free plugin in order to get around. Let's go to plugins. This right here, ultimate add-ons for Elementor Lite. That's what's allowing us to do this powerful footer with only using the free version of Elementor. So we don't have access to Elementor Pro, so we can't do a lot of things that Pro allows. However, I found out how awesome this plugin is. Really great if you're looking for a free alternative to Elementor Pro. So I still 1000% recommend Elementor Pro, but if whatever reason it's outside of your budget or whatever, this plugin is amazing. So the trick is, we have this menu here, and there's no, in Elementor Pro you can do this. There's like a breakpoint setting and then you can make this go. So we see there's, your only option is horizontal at all. So whether you're on desktop mode, tablet, mobile, whatever, you only have horizontal mode, or vertical or expanded or flat. You can't set these on a per device basis. But I found a trick. I was pulling my hair out and I was like, oh, that's frustrating. I can't believe they don't allow that. So the trick I found was, if you go to the style tab, notice we still have the layout as horizontal. So you would think that those menu items would stretch across the screen and look funky. But if we go to style, what I found was, if I jacked up the space between, so let's just knock this out. If I have 99 there, so this is what you would get if you didn't do the trick. So it's not the end of the world, but I want them to be stacked like the other. So I was playing with all these the horizontal padding, the space between the row. Like, I was playing with everything to try to get these things to line up. Long story short, I figured out that once you start upping these values, you see that it's pushing that stuff to those menu items to the right, and it's forcing those to go on another line. So you just keep working and working and working, and then boom, it hits right there. Okay, so you can do 90. I just went ahead and bumped this all the way up to 99 there, and yeah, so it all aligns perfectly at the left to match the rest of those menus, and it just looks great. So that was the trick I wanted to show you guys if you happen to use that plugin. If you get the footer, make sure that you install this plugin first before you import the template from the club website. All right, you need that plugin in place. Okay, what's next? Footer, the copyright. So another really awesome thing about this plugin. So let's go to the settings of this plugin. And remember, I'm just going to keep harping on it. Only enable what you need and what you're going to use. Okay, so I came back over here in widgets and I poked around. I was like, because you don't have Elementor Pro, so we can't do dynamic data, right? So I go in here, typically how I would do it with Elementor Pro, I'd come in here, I would click on this dynamic tags option, but we can't do that because we don't have Elementor Pro. So then I was like, how are we going to get the dynamic copyright date, to get that to update every year? So I went in here and started poking around, and I was just shocked to find that this copyright option is in there. So I toggled that on, and that is how we are doing this right here. We now have a dynamic date in there. So that's really, really cool. Yeah, so all I've turned on to make this happen is the navigation menu and the copyright option. On another note, if you are a client of mine, so I'll give you all the ways again. If you're hosting with me, if you're under my care plan, if you're under Manage My Listing, or you purchase a starter site, a full starter site, I've pretty much come to the conclusion I'm going to name these like starter site light or light starter sites or something along those lines. I'm not going to be including all of the plugins and the premium plugins in these sites when I sell them. Just because they're going to be so much cheap. They're going to be quite a bit cheaper, or a lot cheaper. And I don't want it to come across like I'm distributing plugins. So, I'm not doing that. So you have to go buy a full-blown starter site and then become a client, and then I can get you all those plugins. Or you can get one of these light starter sites, I'm calling it. And if you're under one of my services that I just mentioned, or you purchase a starter site, then I can get you actually the license, the pro license for this actual plugin right here, if you want to use it. Okay, but you also get Elementor Pro at that point. So it's, you don't really need this, but it's got some cool features that Elementor Pro may not have. I'd have to dive in further. Anyway, they give you lots of options to get this stuff. Okay, what's next? Oh yeah, so with back in the footer, we are using the nav widget from that plugin, which also allows us to enable schema support. So we can now add the correct schema markup for our navigation items. All right, so that's in there and turned on by default. What else? Okay, that's it for, I think that's it for the footer. Again, like I said, it's available on the club website. Let's go ahead and poke around. So it looks good on all devices. Cool. We do have some duplication there. That is really strange. I will have to I'll go look at that after we're done. It looks like we've got some duplicates going on in there. I'm not sure where that came from, how that's even possible. Oh, I see. It's because we're on the footer. We're actually on the footer page. Here we go. Let's refresh this. That was weirding me out there for a second. Let's just go over here, and here we go. There we go. So it's good. Okay, that was wild. Okay, all good there. False alarm. Okay, so again, that's available on the club website. And what's next? In my last video, I couldn't click on, if you recall, if you watched, I couldn't click on this. And it was like, I had a total brain fart. I've seen this a million times. I just brain farted in the video what this was. So in order for that to work, you have to go over into theme tools, direct messages. You have to toggle these settings off and then toggle them back on and click update, this update button. That then unlocks the ability. This is the refresh. This is the new version of everything. We can now click into the direct message. Okay, so that's why that wasn't working. What else? Design updates, rounded corners. So anywhere that I've got an opportunity to do rounded corners, whether it's here, like on the basic search form, category blocks, listing previews, feeds, everything has rounded corners to modernize things. If we look at the cart, the same rounded corners. If you look at direct messaging, rounded corners, which wasn't easy to do. You'd think it would be easy, but that was the hardest one because they separate the elements into different parts and you have to try to target each one of them. Let me actually show you that. So if we go to WP Codebox, that would be under global, okay? Because you could have a basic search form anywhere and I have to account for that. We have to account for that, you and me. So here we go. Just to get, I call this, I saved this, created it, no, not use your words, Ryan. I saved this, put this in WP Codebox under what I call modals, like a modal section, and then broke it down here and let you guys know exactly what it's for. But you can see how many things I had to target, 3 different elements just to get those rounded corners for the direct messaging. Okay. What else? Button hover fix. I can't remember what that was meaning. Button hover fix. I'll have to think about what that is. I fixed some buttons. I can't remember what it was. Button styling. Let's go there. Text transform. Okay, so in the last video, you saw some of these buttons had uppercase. Some of them had capitalized, first letters capitalized. Some had the first word capitalized and then the rest of the words weren't. So that, it was all over the place. So I went all throughout this site and I found the common denominator, the best common denominator with the least amount of resistance was to go with a text transform of capitalized, which that means the first letters of every word is going to be capitalized. So as we see here, search is capitalized, With add listing, the A and the L is capitalized, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't matter where you go here throughout this website. It's going to be uniform across the whole site. And then we went with a font, same thing. Font weight of 600 seemed to be the path of least resistance, so I went with that. And that's set up in Elementor's global settings here. So site settings, global fonts, and then buttons. So 600 semi-bold and then capitalize. And then, like I said, it's also done over here in WP Codebox for the buttons. And you see that right there. Okay, what else? We have to wait. Unique styling for home. And okay, so we have unique styling for pages that have transparent headers and ones that have solid headers. Okay, so the home page here has a transparent header. When you hover over the CTA button, we'll notice, if I can use, here we go, you'll notice that it turns white. On scroll, we see that it turns white, and then on hover, it has a little bit of a different hover state. Now, conversely, if we look at, say, the blog page, we see this one is white to start. And then when you hover over it, it does the inverse. Okay. And when you scroll, it's the same thing, white with inverse. So that's taken care of. And so how that's done is in WP Codebox. We have a global option. So that's going to set anything that's not the home page at this point. So it's set globally, every page. It's going to apply to every page. If you want to apply it to other pages, something different like I did to the home page because it's transparent, that's how that is done right here. Because we're using WP Codebox and we are targeting only the home page using the conditions builder, that's how we are setting that. Unfortunately, we also had to use the important declaration. So that's these items here in pink because we had to enforce it. It didn't work unless we forced it still. Okay, so that's how that got done. And that's it. That's the recap. So here is our refresh version. So before we saw there was the cart, and you see how the button had our capitalized hadn't been put in place yet. But now we see it all. It's capitalized, so that looks good. We couldn't click on the direct message, so I couldn't show you that. But this is all styled up now. Everything has a hover state for accessibility and all that good stuff. Okay, all of this has been designed. Again, hover state. This stuff is not present in the demo. There's no hover states. Okay, so that is all taken care of. What else? What else can I show you? I think that's about it since the last video. Let me refresh this. I want to make sure. There we go. Sometimes this menu gets a little wonky and you have to refresh. And now that I'm seeing this on a bigger screen, I think I'm going to work a little bit after this video. I'm going to get this this lined up over here a bit better, but this still looks really good. Okay. One of the things I wanted to do live, I don't want this video to go an hour again. So we're going to make this, or even over the last video went way over an hour. So we're going to shorten this one up. So we're going to do this one live. We're going to go to theme tools and performance. And we're going to go to other settings. Oh, by the way, the demo does not have preview card caching turned on by default. So you want to make sure that when you're ready to go live, or you can do it right away, you just got to be prepared. You might need to clear some caching. You want to enable preview card caching before your site goes live. So what I wanted to show you here was under other settings, they default to a medium large size of 768 by auto. You want to set this to WooCommerce single 600 by auto. You don't need images any larger than that for the listing feeds, the preview cards. Okay, it's just a waste of resources. You can shrink those images down even more, optimize your site just that much more. So I'm going to click save here. And there's nothing else you need to do because it's now when those preview cards are displayed, it's just going to automatically take care of that. Okay, so And also another thing while we're in here, this data updates tab, when you import one of the MyListing demos, you need to go into this tab and make sure you run all of these and that they are green. They do not do that for you out of the box. So that's another thing to check. Okay, what are we gonna do now? Let's just wing this here. My thought here is to go just page by page. We're not building the Canvas starter site. We're not building a starter site that's going to take us a long time to build, do a light mode, do a dark mode, do all the pro stuff. We're not doing that. That's not the point of these. This is part education. It's part doing this stuff with free tools. It's part being able to give people starter sites that a beginner to intermediate to even a pro, anybody can use. And make the price point much lower so people can get their hands on a better demo for a very low cost. Okay, that is the idea here behind all of this. But education, lower price point, better demos, all that, modernized demos, all that stuff. Okay, so let's just, with that in mind, let's just go to the Explore page and we're just gonna wing it because yeah, we're just going to wing it. So the Explore page has a drop down. We don't need that. So let's go pages. Let's go, actually, let's go appearance. Let's go menus. Let's go primary menu. And let's just get rid of that extra Explore page. We don't need that. Do we even need the listings? I don't think we do. I'm actually going to move that. We don't need that extra. Let's do this. Let's just drop these under here. Let's remove that extra menu item. We don't need it. We don't, under more, we don't need an add listing button because we have that CTA. So let's just clean up our menu here. Remove. Okay. What else are we going to do here? Let's do cars for sale. Let's see what this actually is. Is there separate pages for this? Oh, okay. So they've probably got a dynamic link. Okay, let's go here. Clean up the menu. Let's go to Explore Cars for Sale. That's weird. So is that like that? Okay, let's look at their demo and see what they have. So listings, cars for sale. So that just goes to a listing. Okay, doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's just get rid of that. That doesn't make any sense. Menus. Let's just get rid of that. I'm not sure why they would do that. That's a bit strange. We could clean this menu up even more if we wanted, but we'll go ahead and what do we want to do here? Let's leave it as is. We'll leave it as is for now. Maybe we'll change this later. We'll save this. This is part of me. I'm just thinking on the fly here. This is how I do this if I wasn't recording. So just hitting record and whatever comes out. Okay, so we clean this up. Very good. Let's roll with that. All right, let's check out the Explore page. Let's see what we can do here. We notice that our preview cards are not styled like they are on the homepage, right? So here's what they look like on the homepage. And here's what they look like here. So let's apply our same design. So let's go over to WP Codebox. Let's create another snippet. So click new snippet. We're going to call this Explore. Or sorry, you know what? Let's don't do that. Let's do this the right way. Listing previews. I've already got a snippet for this. We want to apply our listing previews to our Explore page. So we're going to open the conditions builder. What we want to do here is also say now, if it is the Explore page, let's also apply our design. So I want to click add group. Okay. So we're saying if the home page, apply to the design, or if these conditions are true, apply to the design. We click add condition. Current post is Explore. And you can do this if you have multiple Explore pages or multiple pages under Explore where the listing preview cards are, you could instead do this. You could say page URL contains the word Explore. Okay, that's another way that you could do it. All right, we're just going to go with current post is the Explore page. Save, save. Let's refresh. Boom, just like that, we've got our design here. Cool, cool. Everything should work exactly the same as far as the quick view and all of that stuff. Next up is you'll see this tick mark. We can change that if we want. I don't have, we'll do that in another video. We'll do that when we get to the actual single listings, just because I have to set up my, let me put that in my notes here real quick. I need to get the site set up so we can do the tick box. Oh, you know what? What we could do? Yeah, let's do that. I'll put a note. Tick. Let's do dev kit plugin. Change color of tick. I've done this in other videos, but I'm going to show you guys live here. Probably when we get to the single listings, if not before. I'm going to show you how to easily change the color of this tick here. Okay, so that's in my notes. Let's go back to the Explorer page. Listing previews look good. I don't like this at the top when you only have a couple of listings. I think that's a complete waste of space up there. So let's now go to Pages, Explore, and let's change this layout to, we're going to change it from navbar. So right here, display listing types as navbar. I want to change this to dropdown. There we go. So that brings everything flush up to the top and looks much better in my opinion. Now, if you have a bunch of listings, I've done this with the Influence WP site. Let me show you that real quick. I've done that other way because we have tons of listing types. So this is where that bar across the top makes sense. I've done a little more customization here, but that's where, to me, it makes sense. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh and see what we have. I've noticed this too, where some of the, I don't know if this is, I'm guessing this is the demo. I'm not sure that's causing that. I'm not sure why these buttons don't have actual text on them. It's just random ones. So we can fix that together. Right click on the button, see where that color is coming from. So, okay, so it's coming from Elementor. So even though, let's go over here. So even though under our global settings, our buttons have text color of white, that's not working. It's not overriding what MyListing is using. Okay. We then go under theme style and typography. And these links right here, this link color is what's taking precedence. Okay. So if we're going to have black buttons, it probably makes, see, that's tough. That's tough. Because you got to think about your other links, right? So we may have to adjust this on the fly. Let me think about this some more, how we're going to go about it. Because you got to figure out the path of least resistance. If we want to make all of our buttons have white text, then we have to start adjusting things like this button. Then we got to think about our actual links, what those are going to look like. Maybe we find a challenge. We have a little bit of a challenge because we're using like blacks and whites and grays, and we have a little bit more of a battle on our hands. So we'll have to think through that. What else? Everything else I think looks okay here as far as styling goes. Now we could bold these words if we wanted. Not super worried about that. What I do want to clean up, and it's more of a listing type thing, we can go ahead and do that, I guess. So let's go over to our listing types. We'll just fix this up real quick. What I want to change is I don't like when the words are wrong, and I don't like when the capitalization is all over the place. So let's go to listing types, and this one is for sale and for rent. So we need to fix both of those. So let's open both of those up. Let's go to search forms, and we're looking at the advanced form, which we are currently on. And you see how it says, what are you looking for? I guess I'm okay with that. This one right here, I guess that's okay. That doesn't look that bad. But here we don't want to say car brand and model because we want to do like vehicle. So let's do vehicle. Actually, let me check my other site here. Let me get some inspiration here from one of my other sites, how I did this. Bear with me 1 second here. I did a little bit different over there. I actually took this out or moved it down. All right, so I moved this down here, and then I just did keyword search. All right, so let's do that. And do that for both listing types. Okay, next thing we want to do is vehicle type. Again, just get all my casing right. I changed the previous video. I covered how I changed this. So daily. Let's go to the home page. I changed that to daily rate. See right here on my screen. So we're going to do daily rate to be consistent. There we go. And then where to look. I'm just going to say location, proximity, tags. We're only worried about design right now. We'll get into the listing types at a later time. Vehicle, brand. I'm going to do slash model. I have a feeling we're going to have to adjust this because I think I'm not sure they went about this the correct way. So let's go here. Let's just copy over our stuff. Vehicle type. Price. This one's for sale, so price is fine. Let's put location on here. Proximity tags. Okay, so they did tags on. Okay, cool. Okay, let's save our changes. Refresh the Explore page. Go for that consistency. There we go. All of our case looks good. All good. Tags. Okay, one of the other things too that's a popular thing to do is to adjust the tags. Okay. I'm not going to make a decision on this button yet. We're getting pretty close to calling it a day on the Explore page as far as the design goes. It looks good. Okay, just poking around a bit. Maybe I'll load a map in here. But you know what? I'll put that in my notes just so you guys can see what it looks like. We'll do. I'll put a note for map box. Then we'll set that up. Okay, so a lot of times people like to do things with these tags, like put 2 in a row. So we'll go ahead and do that together here. So with that selected, what we're looking for is tags nav. Okay, so we have the correct selector, and now we're looking for width. I thought that was where it was at. Width. I think it's tags nav. Let's do a width on this and see if that gets us there. Width 50%. No, it's not that one. There we go. That's what it is. Width. See it says width 100. We want that to be 50. There we go. Yeah, that's not. Oh, it's probably because I did it over here too. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's copy this CSS. Let's take it over to WP Codebox. Now we can create that Explore page. Snippet, new snippet, title, Explore. Change the type to CSS. Change the where to insert the snippet. This is important. Make sure you do front, end, footer. This is an Elementor thing, not a MyListing issue. It's an Elementor issue. Open condition builder, add condition, current post is Explore. So we're only applying our CSS to the Explore page. Save and close, paste in our code. The only code we want to keep in here is what we've actually changed. Okay, let's put our comment in here so we know what the heck this is in the future. Advanced search form. Checkboxes. Bingo, save, enable, refresh. There we go. I think, again, this is good enough, this particular section for what we're doing here. Okay, but we could get into, we can make these, as I've done on other sites, we can make these circles, we can make them rounded, we can do all kinds of stuff. Let me see if I can do this in a quick amount of time. If I can't, we will just move on. Because I don't want to keep you guys on here too long. Okay. Yeah, we'll just leave it here. Here we go. Did I find it? Okay, we'll come back to this, or maybe I'll do it. I'll do it off screen, and then I'll show you what I did. Maybe we'll do circles probably for these. Okay, and then another thing I'll do too is I will bold these. Let me put this in my notes. So I'm going to circle checkboxes. It's kind of counterintuitive, right? Bold field labels. So we'll bold these labels right here so they pop off the screen. And yeah, I think that's that for that. And yeah, I think we're pretty good for the Explore page. Just let me think for just a second here if there's anything else we need to do. Yeah, it all looks fine. Again, we're just looking at design, not the functionality, anything like that. Let's change the listing types just to make sure. Yeah, okay, we're going to call it quits. Man, time flies. I thought this was going to be shorter. I mean, it is shorter, but still 37 minutes, 38 minutes. All right, guys, I got some more homework to do, and then we will do some more stuff in the next video. All right, see you guys.